The UK government has confirmed its intention to move forward with legislation to protect the Irish language in Westminster. There has not been a final timetable for the controversial package of cultural laws to come into effect, but Northern Irish Foreign Secretary Brendan Lewis previously announced that the move would take place sometime in October. Since Mr. Lewis made that pledge last summer, the DUP has urged the government not to move forward with legislation while ignoring trade unionists' concerns about the Northern Irish protocol to Brexit. The government's decision to step in to break a Stormont impasse regarding the deadlock laws that provide legal protection for both Irish and Ulster Scots was a key factor in the death of short-lived DUP leader Edwin Poots that summer. Political death, by the way, not a real one. Mr. Poots' successor Geoffrey Donaldson has since warned that the passage of the laws, which are a major goal of Sinn Féin's policies, would further undermine decentralisation in Northern Ireland at a time when trade unionists are so against the border in the Irish Sea, which is related to Brexit. Mr. Donaldson threatens to collapse Stormont within weeks if material changes to the protocol are not ensured. The government agreed to propose the language laws at Westminster after Sinn Féin threatened not to re-enter the power-sharing administration after failing to get a firm schedule from the DUP for implementing the laws at Stormont. The cultural package was a key element of the new decade, New Approach Deal 2020, with which restored decentralization. The internal DUP revolt, with which Arlene Foster was deposed as party leader and First Minister earlier this summer, sparked a Stormont mechanism that required the appointment of a first DUP minister and an assistant first minister from Sinn Féin. A functioning executive could only have been formed if both posts were filled. The decision would cost Mr. Poots his leadership, or did, as he was forced to resign within hours of Mr. Given's confirmation as First Minister. The procedural mechanism gave Sinn Féin some leverage over Ms. Foster's successor, Mr. Poots, and the party made it clear that it needed movement in the Irish language question before it was ready to appoint Michelle O'Neill as Deputy First Minister. When Mr. Poots refused to pass the Stormont laws before the end of the Assembly's current mandate, Sinn Féin urged the government to intervene and pass the laws in Westminster instead. Mr. Lewis agreed, saying that if Stormont did not come up with a bill of his own by the end of September, he would postpone legislation in Westminster in October. A government spokesman confirmed that a bill would be tabled in Westminster. And, of course, there are reactions now. It is disappointing that the executive has not moved forward with legislation to deliver the balance of identity, language and culture as agreed in the New Decade and New Approach Agreement, the spokesman said. This legislation will recognize the rich diversity of Northern Ireland. In accordance with the commitments made by this government, and in the absence of progress on this matter, we will take the necessary steps to get the legislation in place through the UK Parliament. Well, many DUP members reacted angrily at the government's move in June, describing the decision as giving in to a ransom demand from Sinn Féin. However, Mr. Poots still decided to press ahead with a reconstitution of the executive branch and appoint Paul Given as First Minister. And this, despite the fact that a clear majority of his MPs and MLAs spoke out loudly against re-entering the government with Sinn Féin on this basis. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.